Okay, well, Lucifer here. It's been a while since I last made any videos. Partially, well, actually, completely thanks to the fact that I somehow forgot my Gmail email. That rhymed. And I also forgot my recovery email. It's kind of to do with the fact that I'm what people way back in the day, would call completely retarded. So yeah, that happened. So I basically wanted to talk about a little thing with sort of atheists or outspoken advocates for the complete eradication of religion. So maybe not all atheists, but certainly the atheists are sort of the furthest along that spectrum. The spectrum goes that way apparently. And really sort of have this extreme view that religion should be completely eradicated from society. Again, I'll state that this doesn't apply to all atheists necessarily, but it's certainly a thing I've noticed with a few sort of more prominent atheists, more outspoken and more well-known ones. And I kind of just like to point it out. Okay, so basically what you'll find with a lot of atheists have a tendency to class religious believers. You have your religious believers, and then you have your fundamentalists, and you tend to find that a lot of atheists class all religious believers with the sort of fundamentalist groups, the creationists, and those sorts of people. And a lot of the time you'll find on the web is that a lot of people will completely denounce them having to debate with religious believers because they believe that religious believers are ignorant and not open to discussion. They'll often say that they're difficult to access and unwilling to hear the other side. They'll say that I've heard it's been said before that from an atheist perspective, a lot of them seem to think that religious believers are too afraid to debate people because they're holding on to their ideology so tightly, and they're afraid that if someone were to debate them on it and bring in some new ideas, then that'd threaten their sort of point of view, and they'd feel like it'd be threatening their existence in a way. And you find a lot of people saying that the religious people are scared to debate with the other sort of side of the spectrum because they know deep down that they wouldn't be able to defend their ideology and that it'd get completely eradicated because they don't know what they're on about. Well, I was going to say that's kind of hypocritical. In truth, really, I've found that there are quite a few atheists online, sort of outspoken and more well-known, like I said before, that showed similar characteristics, all the characteristics of a religious fundamentalist. And you also find people that deny that atheism is a religion, which, is completely untrue. A religion, by definition, is an institution that bases itself around the belief in something that'll explain everything, and something that gives them meaning. And for atheists, that's science. Now, some might argue, well, that's more rational than religion. But, I'm going to have to point out that, as of yet, there are still things that science has yet to explain, which is why you can see that some people, despite all of these scientific discoveries and theories about the creation of the universe, some people still turn to God to find answers. But anyway, I was going on about the hypocrisy. I think you'll find there are a lot of atheists that display similar characteristics to these, which they seem to prescribe to all religious believers. For example, take Richard Dawkins. Now, Richard Dawkins is definitely one of the most well-known atheists currently, so atheist activists out there currently. He goes on live television and stuff, and he writes a shitload of books. I don't know if you've heard, but he actually refuses to openly share a panel with religious believers. Now, his official sort of explanation or stance is that they're not worth debating with, and he's disgusted by them. This is a man that's even more fervent than Freud in his belief that religion is a disease. At least Freud could, compromise. Freud just thought it was childish, and humanity needed to move on. but which, you know, is untrue unless you want like complete social anarchy. Most of the morality and order we have in society today is because of our, or Western society today is because of our Christian roots. I was going somewhere with that. But anyway, yeah, I was saying about Richard Dawkins. You know, he tries to say that, you know, well, they're probably not worth debating with, and, you know, I'm far above them. I don't want to share a panel with them because they're ignorant, which, you know, makes no sense. You think that if he actually felt that his belief that it should be eradicated, the strong fundamentalist-like belief that religion should is a disease and should be completely removed, and there's nothing good about it at all. You think that if he was able to defend that in truth, then you'd think he'd be willing to debate it openly, you know, on television and on panels with religious believers. But the thing is, he isn't. And you know, I have doubts about his ability to defend his fervent belief, and I think it's a similar fear that he has a similar fear regarding his belief and his sort of atheism that a lot of atheists seem to prescribe to sort of religious fundamentalists or attribute to religious fundamentalists. You know, he knows that with a position so extreme, he can't actually defend it properly. He can't actually justify it. And, you know, I think he kind of knows, it's kind of like he knows deep down that if he were to get brought into a debate with some Christians who actually knew their stuff, an open debate, then that he'd find that his belief isn't that strong after all. It doesn't have that much solid ground to stand on, and he'd be embarrassed somewhat. He'd get taken down a notch. No, I'm not saying all of his beliefs can't be justified, but to me it seems like that. You know, he's definitely the strongest atheist I've heard of, strongest outspoken atheist, strongest well-known atheist, and yet he refuses to openly debate with people, which, you know, it just seems kind of counterproductive in a way. I mean, his whole point is that he wants to convince people that it's childish and should be removed, but at the same time, he doesn't want to speak to the people that he claims that he wants to cure from their disease. And I've noticed this with a few other people too. There was for example, there was that one YouTuber, actually, Jocelyn Glenn. She's like an really outspoken atheist and believes that it's childish, to the point where she makes fun of her own family, religious Republican family members behind their backs. And the funny thing is that not once have I seen her actually openly debate with another Christian. I've seen her make videos making fun of other Christians, Christian YouTubers and the like, but and I've seen tons of comments in her videos saying, you know, well, I'll debate you on this, but she never seems to have had to have debated anyone. And often in her videos, she goes on about how, like, oh, well, my members of my family were saying this to each other on Facebook, look at these stupid Christians, but never once has she said that she, like, intervened or anything, that she felt that what they were saying was wrong, and that she went and corrected them. She's never done that. She always seems to back down and instead bitch about it to her YouTube fan base. Well, it seems funny to me. She never enters a direct debate. She doesn't reply to comments either, which is funny. And you know, it's just another example of sort of hypocrisy in some of the more outspoken atheists. You know, again, I'm going to reinstate that I'm not prescribing this attribute to all atheists, but I just thought it was funny to me. And it's just that you can't claim that there aren't fervent sort of atheist fundamentalists